I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
Yet our best trained, best educated, best equipped, best prepared troops refuse to fight.
And that little girl was me.
You know, this my little thing. Okay, so my deal is, what's wrong with him asking for custody? The thing that I feel that if you should ask for custody is if the child is in danger and she's not fit to be a mother, right? And you have direct proof to verify that. Do not use a child as a pawn.
What the impacts of slavery, of what racism, what capitalism has done to Black people. So for him to have this opportunity to really give a moment to say, you are correct, we must figure out a way to understand Black people today. Instead, he laughed at him and made it a novelty and said, you really drank the Kool-Aid. So
Yeah. This is also about men trying to control the sexual desires and activities of their daughters because they want them to grow up to be a certain kind of woman. They want them to be domestic, they want them to be docile, they want them to be subservient, and they want them to be submissive, right? And so that is not, when you get a woman, that a wild woman rising, you don't know what to do with her because she is not living out your narrative and you're not able to control her.
Well, let's be clear. I always tell people we have to be real mindful of the Hispanic culture because Hispanics come from different places. Two demographics of Hispanics that vote Republican. Pretty sure the Hispanic coalition in Florida that he's meeting with is predominantly Cuban and Venezuelan because those.
Can I buy a vinyl? You know, can I buy a
So well versed and so phenomenal, whether you work on a register or you're in the C-suite, you have a skill set that's so needed that someone is willing to rent your time. They are leasing your time. Figure out your promise first, not your product. What is your promise?
And so when we're talking about facing challenges of people at high risk and targeted groups and minority population, it's trauma. So you got to think about what this person brings to the table. We're not always going to get it right. One thing that we as society don't want to appreciate anymore is apologizing. I apologize. I'm sorry. And so those words, I'm sorry, are so powerful. And so individuals don't expect everybody to get it right. But when you apologize and you're really listening to try to be better, then you do that.
Safely, when it's all said and done, the police is going to protect the state. And that is why the slaughter of Black bodies and Black people at the hands of the police is such an epidemic because they are trained and they commit to a training of policing.
So my book is about my struggle, but how I overcame it. And to let Black women know, and just women of all colors. And I'm not going to just say that it's just for Black women, but Black women, we need this. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. It's okay to go get help. If you can't have a child, that means your vagina is no better or no worse than the next person. Okay?
Well, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Truth to Power. We have me, Dr. Matthews, the accountability specialist. Then we have the communication and political analyst, Mr. Wendell King. And then we have our political analyst and also our other co-host by the name of Dean Snell. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
How's everything going, guys? How's everything going? It's
good.
Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
I know. It's just raining like it's been cold.
I was looking at some photos from Houston. I saw it's a lot of rain going on up down that way.
It's a bit much, like flooding, especially on that south side. It's like really flooding over there.
I was gonna ask that. Is that the south side? Because I know the north side doesn't really flood like that, but I know sometimes on the south side it gets like that.
Well, what ended up happening, like the south side is the one that's got all the flooding. Then the north side, we end up getting all the wrecks and
it balances. There's a balance.
Yeah, so balance is there.
I got the wreck. How y'all get the wrecks up there? You ain't got no wreck.
Man, look here. They had the East Texas Freeway is like 59 North is like jam packed because one of those trucks exploded. One of those 18 wheelers exploded, so it was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we'll be wearing jackets tomorrow and shorts on Friday.
Okay. I mean, every city got theirs. New York can deal with murder. We can deal with flood. If New York and Chicago can deal with murder, so I mean, you know.
Tomato.
Tomato.
So, well, speaking of tomato, what is your opinion on this WAP update? The drama continues with Cardi B and Offset. Like, what is going? Like, did y'all see this coming? Like, what is your opinion on this?
Well, I can't say I have much of an opinion because I mean, right now it's their personal business, what they're going through personally. I'm never really one to get into like the celebrities, like divorces and breakups and all that stuff, just because I feel like that's a personal matter. Because I'm like, if I was in the spotlight, I definitely wouldn't want anybody like.
Well, see, but that's the price you pay when you are in the spotlight. So you don't have a choice. So my thing is, I want to be all up in their business. I want to know everything.
Well, I don't want to be all up in their business, but I do agree that is the swap out. Like, if you're going to make millions off of lackluster talent, then you got to give something to pay for it.
You said lackluster talent? Now that's some shade.
You know, I mean, you know, but I appreciate Cardi B. Because like I appreciate her even coming out today, even if she was just having his back, but she was like, yeah, I saw so much stuff about he cheated on me again. Da, da, da. She was like, that's the past. She said the issue is we just grew apart. I got tired of fussing and fighting. Now, of course, we know that she's not telling the whole truth, but I respect the fact that but I respect that she's keeping their business private in the little ways that she can. So she's controlling the narrative.
I mean, as it should be, because I mean, I think more people should control the narrative of how much gets out about their personal business, because tabloids and all that stuff is only going to know as much as you tell them. And it's just like with your circle, like as long as your circle is tight and they understand that, hey, this is what we're going with, and this is all that needs to come out about this particular situation.
What's his name? What is his name?
Is it Offset or is it
Offset?
Offset. Yeah.
I'm a fan of. I like the Migos now. I think the Migos is like one of the first. Like they're one of the first like trap music groups besides Future that I really got into. I got into the Migos through Katy Perry actually.
Well, Migos and Future have both performed at Texas University homecomings in the past, so I do appreciate both also. But you brought up when you brought up Katy Perry, it reminded me of why I stopped liking the Migos. When they were supposed to perform, when they performed with her at the Billboard Awards 2019, she had all of those RuPaul Drag Race girls in the show, and they refused to go on stage with her if she had them, and so she cut them because she didn't want to fall out with them because she needed them for the song, and so she allowed each one of them to. The Billboard Awards sent each one of them a billboard because they were in her video, that the song that they did, they were a part of the video, and they refused to go on stage with them. So I just remember this. So no, leave him, Party.
Really? Okay. Well, then, speaking of controlling the narrative, then I like the way how Will Smith and Jada Pinkett control their narrative.
Oh yeah, they did it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's that goes back to, you know, people that have a team that has experience in communications and public relations and all that stuff. I'm sure Wendell could tell you, you know, I'm sure you know
the level of accountability was what they done, and people respect that. You know,
I think the main thing was that it never would have gotten out as far as it did if it wasn't for August Alsina.
Well, because they had an album though, so he had
but they've been controlling their narrative for decades.
For years.
Like they've been controlling that child was hurt and used them to try and sell an album, but he will never have the clout that a Jada and Will Smith has, and they're never going to leave. He's just like a woman. If you are a whore, you are a whore. They're never going to leave their spouse for you. Their spouse will leave them and they will go to you, like Melania and Donald Trump, but they will never leave their spouse for you. And that was something he had to learn. They control that narrative. Excellent.
I give props for props is due, because when he said it, I think the fact that it was August Alsina, people were surprised, like, oh, okay, so it was August Alsina, but we weren't surprised that there was, you know, entanglements going on, because we knew that there was entanglements going on.
But in my personal opinion, I think they both entangled that boy.
But you know, I don't care. Like, I think my thing is, I don't care, and they made it easy to not care because they've controlled their business. They have 3 beautiful children that are growing up as great adults. They are a powerful couple, and I think that we should just respect that. I respect that, even if they are in some entanglements. We have all been in entanglements, but we were entanglements for free. They're making money off of our
They're making money off their entanglements. Because that video, that episode that they did made a lot. Got a lot.
Red table.
Things. And I know they made money off of that.
Song jam too, though. That little song that Austin had, it jam a little bit.
I didn't even listen to it. I couldn't bring myself to listen
a little bit.
I've never listened to it.
I just felt like if you was going to do that, you should have did that before you was releasing the album. You was doing all of this.
You know what?
Your album still flopped. That was the problem.
He tried to do an Usher. You know, when Usher did with Confessions. You know what I'm saying? So, but see, the way Usher did it, Usher brought out the album, and then the actual narrative came a bit afterwards.
Yeah, but Usher is also Usher. But Usher is Usher. August Alsina is a D-lister.
Right.
So that's
like August. I don't care.
That's like Kaya. That's like Kaya attacking Beyonce. Like,
you know what? We're my fan.
Girl, it may be funny, but nobody's listening, sis. Like, we'll laugh, but it's not gonna go
laugh. And anything we go laugh at you, because Beyonce is laughing to the bank, and you still sitting up in Stone Mountain in that, because I saw her like a couple of months ago in that little that little van. She had that little van. She was looking a little rough. I was like,
they be calling it the Scooby-Doo van. People call it the Scooby-Doo van.
I was like, ooh,
mental illness is real.
Well,
I always say, if you focus more on your career and stop trying to roast people, maybe you will have more positive.
Maybe she's trying to use that to create a career to try to roast somebody.
Well, Kaya is hilarious. But Kaya is hilarious. Like, she's hilarious. I love her, but it's still a joke within a joke, because it's like, girl, you are attacking people who don't even know you're attacking them. Their publicists are fighting you. Like,
they don't even care.
Their fans are attacking you.
Not even a person, because it's not even worth it. Like,
no,
you can't. I don't even think she get no shows these days. So it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just have one hit a quitter, and it's still jam too.
Yeah. So I guess the lesson for this with August Alsina is to stay in a child's place. You went out there and you were acting like an adult. She used you because you thought you were going to use her. They won, you lose. She's still with her husband. They're still going to the bank. Their kids are still worth more than you're worth. Their youngest daughter was worth more than you when she was just swinging her hair back and forth. So chill, get you a wife, or I heard you may be bisexual. That may be your next gig. But whatever you are, chill.
Dr. Matthews, you got the wrong fan for the day.
Oh, you know what? Hold on, baby. I got them all.
This is when you needed that shade fan, because that was some
you ain't saying nothing but a word.
But I'm glad we got on to this topic. We did want to kind of discuss a little bit about what was going on in pop culture, and that is one of the big things that's going on in pop culture. But we would, we kind of want to go into the next segment, and we kind of want to give our condolences and our heartfelt wishes to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's family.
Oh, absolutely.
For she fought the good fight. It's sad to see such a strong woman lose the battle, and we were all, we had to pray. We had the prayer warriors praying. I mean, we had them praying, and every time she got sick,
hold on a little bit longer.
Every time she got sick, I think I went into prayer mode. I think I was on,
we were fasting and everything.
But wait a minute, guys. I think we have a video, and then we can come back and talk about her. But let's pay some our respects, and then we'll talk about Sister Ruth as she left us in the desert.
Yes, she did.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
We welcome today Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
She's become such an icon.
Do you mind signing this copy?
I am 84 years old, and everyone wants to take a picture with me.
Notorious RBG. Yeah.
When you come right down to it, the closest thing to a superhero I know.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg changed the way the world is for American women.
I became a lawyer when women were not wanted by the legal profession.
Thousands of state and federal laws discriminated on the basis of gender. She was following in the footsteps of the battle for racial equality. She wanted equal protection for women.
Men and women are persons of equal dignity, and they should count equally before the law.
She captured for the male members of the court what it was like to be a second-class citizen.
The point is that the discriminatory line almost inevitably hurts women.
I did see myself as kind of a kindergarten teacher in those days because the judges didn't think sex discrimination existed.
I have had the great good fortune to share life with a partner truly extraordinary for his generation.
He was the first boy I ever knew who cared that I had a brain.
She is a center of power on and off the court.
Every time Justice Ginsburg wrote a dissent, the internet would explode.
I came up with a couple slogans. You can't spell truth without Ruth.
I surely would not be in this room today without the determined efforts of men and women who kept dreams alive.
I've heard that she does 20 push-ups 3 times a week or something. I mean, we can't even get off the floor. We can't even get down to the floor.
That's true.
Oh, that is such an inspiration. I love it. Baby, she was tougher than booty.
Sister said we can't even.
Right now, that
is what you call resilient.
Yes.
That is what you call tougher than boot leather, like my grandma used to say.
I look at Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes.
Oh no,
Sister Ruth didn't play
at all.
She was a major inspiration. A major inspiration. And I think she was an inspiration for many women. It's so crazy that she became a major inspiration for people of, especially like Gen Z generation, millennials, and like those later on Generation X's. Like they painted her as, I guess, once people really realized her
star power,
right? Not just her star power, but how much she kind of like pushed for women's rights. And I talked about it before, but not only how she pushed women's rights, but how she was big on making sure that all people had equality in the country. Because even when it came to the LGBTQ community, she was big on pushing that through the Supreme Court as well. So it's crazy that she's gone, and to see that she's possibly going to be replaced by somebody who has the complete opposite thought process as her when it comes to.
Well, it's not possibly. She is going to be replaced by.
But she's
someone
not
far right.
lukewarm in the ground, and they already trying to replace her. And I think that is.
I know we're going to get to that, but I really want to talk about Ruth a little more, though, because I think she deserves it, because everything has been so convoluted once she passed away. So it went straight to the politics instead of the celebration. And I think that like what Dean said is so on point, because she was a part of pop culture. Like, she truly became a pop icon, and it was because she was a very conservative woman, but she was far left in her views. She was way before her time. She was fighting for female liberation and LGBTQ plus in the 70s and the 80s, and then she was able to sit on the court.
It was popular.
She was sitting on the court that she had to fight to be able to sit on any court with. Like, she had 5 cases against the Supreme Court. She won 4 out of the 5. So this is a woman that she did her thing, and she understood. And when her husband died in 2010, they asked her in an interview, when does she think it will be enough? Like, when will women finally find equality? And she said, when there are 9 women sitting on the Supreme Court. And I think that says a lot, because she was only the 2nd female in American history on the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. And it's just a lifetime position.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy to see, just to see how much people are. Well, not crazy. I'm not gonna say crazy, but it's just great to see how many people are actually, paying her reverence and showing her respect in this time of her passing. She was 87. And yes, she lived a long life, but the fight that she took to the Supreme Court, the fight that she took in the beginning of her career as well, just as a lawyer. I think when Dale, you was just talking about it, but most people don't realize is that one of the cases that she had was actually against the United States military when they were trying to. The same people. It's just crazy, because the same Republicans that fight about abortion rights and childbirth rights, they never spoke up against the military forcing women to get abortions if they were in the military. In order to stay in the military, you either had, if you wanted to stay in the military back in the 60s, 70s, and you were in the military and you were a woman, if you had a baby, you had to have an abortion in order to stay in the military. And that was one of her first big key I guess you can say cases. It didn't make it to the Supreme Court because the military kind of like settled with the woman before it could make it to the Supreme Court.
But there's a beauty in that, though, because I don't know if you all remember, but well, it's still today. The Republican Party is the #1 supporter of military. And so the same party that supports the military and supported the military in making these women have these abortions are the same ones that says the meat and potatoes of their party is to be pro-life. So it's like, what the freak are y'all doing?
But like many of us say now, the party isn't pro-life, they're just pro-fetus, because once the life is born, they don't want to do anything about the life. You want these women to have these kids, but you want to cut all of these social
all these programs.
Right, all these social programs. So it's like this child is going to have this woman. I mean, this woman is going to have this child, but once she has the child, she's going to struggle with the child. And I think that goes back to
social services.
Right. It's one of my Ruth had a great quote that I actually like. They said the state controlling a woman would be denying her full equality. The state controlling a woman would be to deny her full equality. So when you think about that quote, it's just like, you want to control this woman's rights to have a child and her rights to do this and her rights to do that, but we don't ever get on the other side and try to control the men's rights. Do you see anybody telling men, after you have 5 to 6 kids and you can't take care of them, you need to get a vasectomy?
Well, that's just pure patriarchy. Like, I've been on that kick all week. Like, I'm so sick of the disgusting patriarchy, which leads to toxic masculinity. I'm really sick of all of that, because you are correct, Dean. How is it that a woman is told that being pregnant is it's like an underlying issue. It's an underlying health issue. It's an existing illness if you are pregnant. But what about the man? Like, it's so many things that go into play with what she had to deal with. Even the fact that she was a lefty, because a lot of people held her to the fire. So the reason she became this phenomenon was in 1993, because she was added to the court like in 91 or 92 by Bill Clinton. But in 93 was when she first started challenging them. And her first challenge was to Clarence Thomas. And she called him the freak out. Like, she called him out on it. And she also made him answer for what happened with old girl, Sister Hill. So, it's like she was one of those people that wasn't afraid to speak out. But let's think about her last day. She married a couple. Same-sex marriage. She was the first SCOTUS ever to do that. She just did another marriage. It wasn't same sex, but she just married a couple within the last 2 weeks of her life.
Right.
Like, this woman was truly a revolutionary, but she was a powerhouse. But now let's talk about the political side of this.
And that is the big issue that we're having now, because this has become so politicized. And the problem is that it's only politicized right now because people are going against their word or what they did previously. And like I tell Democrats all the time, y'all go just have to suck this one up, because this is going to get pushed through, and it is what it is. But this goes back again.
They're doing it illegal, and that's the problem.
They're not doing it illegally.
They're not doing it illegally. This is legally their constitutional right as a Senate the president has every right to fill a vacancy. The problem is that Mitch McConnell in 2016 did it illegally by not allowing a vote to go to the floor for Garland.
Yeah, see, I think it was illegal after the primaries. That's what.
No. It's the president. As long as he's president, Ruth Bader Ginsburg could have passed in January 1. And he would have had a right to make his choice of who he wanted to fill that Supreme Court seat. The problem is that we have to see, usually it takes about 71 days, usually for Supreme Court.
The average day is 70. The shortest amount was 48 days, which was Ruth. Ruth was the shortest amount of days they've ever done, but it wasn't during an election. But it's not illegal.
And back then it needed to be a 60 Senate vote. Back then, now we're only up to, I think it was 51.
Yeah, 51. But I think the other part of that is, like, number one, it's not illegal. We know it's not illegal. I mean, but so it's not illegal, but it is unethical. And the main reason it's unethical is because I want to say it's been 88 years or 86 years since it happened, since someone has been appointed. It's going to end up being a lame duck. I don't care what no one says. It's going to end up being a lame duck. They're not going to get it done by the election. They don't want to get it done by the election, because in their minds, in the Republican minds, they can still use that as a carrot, because they know that if some of them vote for it, they could risk losing their seats in the Senate. So they're going to wait until that gap between January and November 3rd.
What do you mean? It's going to happen November 3rd and in January. I see that happening, but I feel like with Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump, they're going to try to ram it through as quick as possible.
But they still have the votes either way. Like, they have the votes either way.
They have the vote. And that's why I was laughing when I kept hearing people on the news saying, "Oh, we're hoping for Mitt Romney and all these other Republicans." I'm like, these are Republicans at the end of the day.
They were Republicans.
The one thing that Republicans have been fighting for the last 40 years is a conservative control of the courts. So they haven't had a conservative control of the courts in decades. Mm-hmm. So this is the end goal. Yeah. This was the end goal from
it was Nixon.
Yeah. This was the end goal since the beginning. And the problem is that Democrats don't see they don't see the future. That's why I say Republicans play chess while Democrats are playing checkers. They always.
I don't agree with that, though, Dean. I have to give you pushback.
I don't agree with that.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
I got a little pushback
But
with that.
let me tell you why I have pushback on that. Number one, you just gave your own pushback because the Democrats have had control of the SCOTUS for 30 years in a row. They had control of
30 years in a row, but that's because it was already.
But you just said that they don't see beyond. But the reality is, the reason the Republicans are fighting for it is because they have not had control of it. But the thing is, I agree with you that they should just let it go. Who cares? It's going to happen. It's inevitable. But I also think it's okay because look what the swap out is going to be. Let them do it. Let them push it through and use it as a selling point to get those senators that we know are about to lose their seats. But get them out of there.
That's why I don't have an issue with it. Listen, for me, I don't see it as a problem. But my thing is, what Democrats have to realize is moving forward is that when we're going into election seasons, that it's not just about the executive branch, because a lot of the times, like I guess after President Obama's election, that was like 2008 was the highlight. That was like the thing that they were pushing for, the executive office, because in 2010, 2 years later, they lost the legislative branch.
But they don't do that. But that happens to both sides. That's not new.
Yeah. No, I know it's not new.
I guess how do you feel that the Democratic Party is playing checkers, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because sometimes I feel like they lose focus on the bigger picture sometimes.
But what is the bigger picture?
I think now that they lost, when they lost the Senate and the House right after President Obama, they realized, and then once they lost to Donald Trump in 2016, they realized that we got to get it together before we end up losing more than we were supposed to.
I still have to give major pushback because
I mean, it's fine to get pushback.
The Democrats won by a Donald Trump winning. The Republican Party lost because history is going to crucify them over the Donald Trump era. So that is a loss for Republicans.
Yeah, well, we know it's.
But wait a minute. When you say we have to, you have to look deep into the future. Looking deep, they would have known that Donald Trump was going to sabotage their party. He was going. Right now, we have the Lincoln Foundation. We have the Lincoln Project. We have this brand new one where they have these former governors coalition of Republicans, and then you have these former attorney generals that are Republicans coming together against their own party. That is unheard of. So when you say that the Democrats are playing checkers and Republicans are playing chess, they are playing a effed up game of chess.
Well, again, but what I'm looking at is, and it's the Republicans that's coming to the side of the Democrats. What you're saying is it's just irate. Yeah, you have these this group of Republican governors and this group of Republican attorney generals, and you have the Lincoln Project. But nobody really saw Donald Trump. First of all, nobody in the Republican Party saw Donald Trump getting past those 15 people.
Yeah,
nobody on the Democratic side saw Donald Trump getting past Hillary Clinton.
Well, I don't agree with
nobody on the Democratic side saw Donald Trump being able to.
I don't agree with none of that.
Nobody was able to see Donald Trump being able to pick.
I don't agree that the Democratic
Party McConnell choosing a judiciary position.
Wait, what were you saying? What were you saying?
I just said that I don't agree.
I mean, you don't have to agree.
I don't agree. No, I'm just saying I don't agree that the Democratic Party is playing checkers. I don't agree.
I always felt like they.
I agree with Candace. I agree with you both, right? But what I'm saying is that it's a seesaw. So if you really follow American politics, you know that it's always a seesaw because in 2016, yes, Donald Trump won, but the carryout was in 2018. The Democrats tore their ass up with the House of Representatives because of a Donald Trump winning. So it's always a carryout. Then you say they weren't thinking about right, but then you say they weren't thinking about anything outside of the executive branch. But that's an incorrect statement also because Democrats did better than they've ever done throughout American history in 2018 on a city and state level. Also, when
that's after
female Democrats.
Donald Trump. That's after.
But what I'm telling you, You're not listening. But you're not.
That's what I'm saying.
But
We're
you're not
basically
listening.
saying the same thing.
No, we're not, because
No,
you
we're
said
really
that
not.
you said that one party is playing chess while the other is playing checkers. What I'm saying is they're both playing the exact same game, because the Democratic Party never had a Tea Party. See, this isn't the first time that the Republicans have come together to go against their own party. This isn't the first time.
And then
But
you
so
have
when you say that, that's not.
the Democrats.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the reality is they both do a win-lose game. Like, it's always like that. Like, I knew that whoever was going against Hillary Clinton was going to have a great chance of winning, only because Barack had been there for 2 terms. He had been there for 2 terms, so it was going to be very difficult for any Democrat. But away from that, they played a dirty game. And I think it's very unfair when people say the Democrats lost in 2016. Yeah, they lost by a lot of different things. It wasn't just a straight up they lost. It was cheating involved. It was all types of illegal activity. He's been in court since 2016. Like, we've been looking at Donald Trump and the Republican Party fighting since 2016. So to say that they won is incorrect, because number one, she won popular vote, right? So that's the win.
But he won the what did
He
win?
won electoral. But he won electoral by Russian colluding
as our president.
But it was by Russian colluding. It was by voter suppression. You can't ignore these things.
Right. I've never ignored that.
For this
again.
But don't say they playing chess, because
as
you
our
don't cheat in
president right
chess.
now. And it was because of Donald Trump sitting as the president that Democrats had to get it together, and that's what pushed them to win in 2018, which is also going to push them to win in 2020.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. It was the election of Donald Trump
But
that
under
really
that
made
same
them wake up.
philosophy, but Dean, under that same philosophy, one would say that's how the Republicans won in 2016, because they had to wake up when Barack Obama won in 2008 and 2012. So it still doesn't show that one is playing checkers, which we know is connected with intelligence, and one is playing chess, which is just by just pretty much logos, just a game of logic. So it's not fair. It's not a fair interpretation, is what I'm saying, because we can clearly see that they both have had their moments in history that says that the other party did the exact same thing. So to say they always do something, there is no absolute in government.
Well, the only thing with the Republicans, they always stick to the same script.
Until now.
See, now they really don't know which way things are coming. So now they kind of disheveled. And that's kind of what's happening at this point, because look, we're looking at a president who clearly has failed during a pandemic.
Yeah. You had a 2016 presidential candidate for the Republican Party speaking at the Democratic convention. Like,
Kasich.
Yeah. So I mean, and like, it's so many. There are multitudes of things to say.
I mean, y'all did have a Democrat speak at the Republican convention.
No, but we didn't have a known.
Yeah.
I didn't know old boy until he got cut up in Georgia, and they didn't want him no more. Nobody knows him but y'all. Like, let's be clear. Yeah, but Kasich is a former governor and was a presidential nominee. Like, I mean, he was running for the primary. Like, come on.
He was a primary.
And be clear, they had about 5 blacks speaking at the Republican convention to serve as mascots, to try and pull over the little black ninnies they could. But the day one of the Democratic convention was dedicated to all the Republicans that want their party back. They're not fighting. They're not defending Biden. They want their party back.
A lot of people want their party. I think a lot of the old Republicans want their party back. I always say the party now is a bunch of rhinos. I know they like to call people who go against them rhinos, but I'm like, you guys are just getting into the party. So
the party has been hijacked. Yeah, the party has been
hijacked. You're the ones that infiltrated the party.
Yeah. The party has been hijacked by trailer trash, shoulda, woulda, coulda Negroes, niggas who felt lackluster in their lives, felt like they didn't get all they wanted, so they mad at Democrats, white people who never voted until they were 50, men who feel like the Democratic Party only care about black women, so it's just been hijacked. They're going to go back. Like, once Donald Trump is no longer in office, they're going to go back into the shadows. Trust me.
Well, we shall see what's going to happen.
They're going to be back in the hill.
I honestly feel like 2 things are going to happen with the Republican Party. It's going to become a Trumpish party where he's still going to have a lot of power even after he gets kicked out. His voice is still going to be heard. No. That's just my opinion. Yeah. Like, I feel like he has his following is too big. And even though we downplay him, right, we're downplaying him right now. Like we downplayed him before, but even though we feel like we're downplaying him,
well,
right
I'll
now,
downplay him even if he win. Winning is it? I'm not attracted to winners. I'm attracted to people who succeed. There's a difference.
I mean,
you can cheat to win, but success is by credentials.
Again, we downplay. We're going to downplay him. But again, I feel like that following that he has is still going to be there.
But who's
like,
downplaying him?
Or when he loses, because I honestly feel like he's going to lose.
But who's downplaying him? I'm treating him. Bernie Sanders has a larger fan base than Donald Trump and Joe Biden had, with millennials and Generation Z specifically. But just like in 2016, he has gone gently into that good night. Donald Trump is going to go gently into that good night, because once the Republican Party have their party back, the same people who are fighting for him, the Jim Jordans of the world, they're going to turn against him. They're going to write books about him. They're going to say that they were just following him.
I'm not worried about the public officials. The public officials are going to go where the wind blows them, because these same public officials in 2006, like I tell people, when I was in Texas and listening to these same people that you see in the front lines talking about how great Donald Trump was in 2016 was on Ted Cruz's side talking about how great Ted Cruz was.
Ted Cruz was a winner. Ted Cruz won the primaries, but they knew that he couldn't defeat Hillary Clinton.
Right.
He didn't have a celebrity behind him because he literally won the Republican primary. That's why at the convention, he refused to tell them to go and support him. He said, vote with your conscience, when he was supposed to go out there and tell them vote for Donald Trump. And he tricked them and said, vote with your conscience.
He did that because he wanted. He was like, okay, Donald Trump loses in 2016. I'll run again in 2020 and I'll be on. But that didn't happen.
He will never. It's over. Ted Cruz will be senator at 70. He'll still, because he's going to keep winning this foolishness.
Yeah.
But let's move on a little bit, because you love hitting that Texas part, but you live in Georgia.
Oh,
right. They're just as red as Texas, except they're smaller. He loves saying, like in Texas, you're in Georgia. Y'all are voter suppression 101. Y'all over there with Kemp.
Yeah, we got Kemp, but I mean, y'all got, what's his name?
Who we got?
Abbott
is the fool. I agree.
That's Trump. I call that Trump light. That's Trump light.
But he's not a fool like Kemp. I know you remember when Kemp went and did that news brief, and he said, "Oh, I didn't know that."
That's what happens when you have a person. That's what happens when you have a person who basically ran on agriculture and bringing back farming and all that stuff. And then you have a pandemic happen, and they don't really focus on science because they don't understand science.
What was he though? Wasn't he? He was already. What was his office? Because it was a conflict of interest.
Attorney General. So Attorney General, not Attorney General, but Secretary of State.
Yes,
he ran the election. So the election that he won, he ran.
Yeah, he ran. So that's the fool.
That was the fool, and a lot of. I mean, I was just moving.
Our fool was different because our fool was he was a past attorney. He was a handicap. Not trying to. I mean, God bless the handicap. I'm not trying to take nothing from y'all, but y'all know that's a point. So he had he was a white. That was a point. He was a man. That was a point. And he was handicapped. Another point. And then he actually had some credentials. 4 points. So that's I don't remember who he ran against.
But didn't he get money by suing? Because something happened, and then the very lawsuit that he did when he became governor, he made it illegal for it to happen. He signed the law into place.
The fool.
Now, that's the real fool.
Yeah, that's the real fool. But let me tell you something more the fool. Something more the fool is when the governor. But something more the fool is when the governor sues a mayor for doing the exact same thing that 5 other mayors in the state is doing, but he only sues that one because I'm mad at her.
That is true. That is true. He sued her, and we was coming after the other ones. I guess he wanted to kind of prove a point for the black female mayor, because it was some black male mayors that did the same thing.
Savannah or Augusta.
But Keisha ain't no fool.
But let me ask you something, Dean. I do want your opinion on something. So what do you see as the best trail for Biden to win the election, electoral college wise? Because it's no longer about popular vote necessarily. It's about those electoral votes.
Electoral college.
So I feel like he has to take Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He has to take Wisconsin and Michigan. I can see him taking Georgia and Texas at the same time because we were just talking about polls earlier today, and him and Donald Trump right now are head to head. I feel like if he takes 3 of those red states, if he takes 3 of those red states or 3 of those states that usually vote Republican, he has it. So I feel like he needs to push for Florida, Georgia, Texas, Michigan, Wisconsin. He can push for Ohio, and I mean, I can see him already getting Pennsylvania. Virginia is in the bag.
Pennsylvania is a given almost. That's almost
right.
a given.
So I'm looking
Wisconsin seems like a given also. He's like
right.
You think
when Donald Trump went there after Jacob Blake, that destroyed his chances. Yeah. He did what everybody keeps saying. Let him kill himself. But I do want to say that I noticed you said that he needs like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Florida, and it would be great to add Georgia. We could say Arkansas.
And the reason why I say that is because I want him to slaughter.
Right.
I want this to be the worst. I want this to almost be like a Reagan election. Like I want him to drag. I want him because what I feel like is if he drags Donald Trump through this election, it's no choice, because I feel like if it's real close, I feel like he's going to do one of those this whole election was rigged thing, or he's going to try to.
He's going to do that anyway.
Election night. He already started. If Joe Biden is banging out these states with these votes, that's why I'm telling people, get your behind out early vote, get your behind out, mail your vote in, or whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Or vote
but you know what? I think they need to use unorthodox strategies as well to try to get the young people out the vote, because it was a post that came out today, and you know what? And it had the strippers, and the strippers had on their butts "Go vote," and they was doing their
do you remember what the theme was on there? It was "Get your ass to the polls."
Get your booty to the polls.
And I saw Meg Thee Stallion actually had a video too on Instagram today, where she was. So what needs to happen is, I do think a lot of these celebrities and these people with some type of influence really do need to.
The strip club have a lot of influence, don't they?
I mean, I was looking. I saw the P
one. For me, strip club is a great one, but not for what you're. To me, you're saying millennials and Generation Z, they're not fascinated with strippers. Who's fascinated with strippers are those black men that are not feeling Joe Biden because they feel like he's catering to black women and forgetting about black men. So I think that is what. Because don't forget, Donald Trump had like 7%, 6% black men. Uneducated black men. Was it 13% in 2016?
Yeah, 13%.
Was it? No, it was 6%, and now it's like 13% polling.
I thought it was 13% overall.
It was too much. It was a large percentage.
I think it'd be a good idea just to register people to vote at the strip club. I think
that is an excellent way, because a lot of people go there also.
Because you know what else too? Because like when you go back and look at the show P Valley,
that's what I was thinking about.
When Uncle Clifford had the issue with what they were trying to do at City Hall, and he had somebody sign their petition before you get your butt in the strip club. They need to have people to register to vote before you get up in the strip club.
But remember, it didn't work. I'm just being petty. The mayor of P Valley is a Republican in real life.
I think that we need an unorthodox strategy to hit that population, because they vote matter as well.
I do too. I think so also. Yeah. But going back to the electoral college though, I don't care if he wins by 1 vote. I'm going to be very honest with you. He can have 270 and Donald Trump have 269. I don't care. I would like it to be an overflow of blessings like Hillary Clinton did in 2016 with the numbers. So I would love for the electoral college numbers to like rain down. But he doesn't need Florida and Texas. He only needs Florida or Texas.
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
And the other thing is, he doesn't need Florida or Texas if he wins Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. So he has a lot of.
It'd be good for Texas to turn blue.
Let's see, that's for me.
He has a lot of options.
No, but what I look at is if Joe Biden, I look at the states that also have like primaries, not primaries, but Senate races going on. I feel like if there's an influx in Democratic voting, that those senators or those people that's running for Senate on the Democratic side will have a bigger chance. Because I was looking at the numbers. Hell, in Georgia, both Senate races are neck and neck. Technically, Ossoff is winning by 1 point, and Warnock is down by 1 point. You look at the Lindsey Graham versus
Lindsey's about to lose.
Lindsey versus Harrison is 25-26.
Lindsey's about to lose.
Lindsey question.
Huh?
Yeah.
Y'all talk about my girl Lindsey. Y'all think Lindsey gonna lose?
Yeah, I hope he lose. My sheet. I hope he lose.
I don't know, but you know, I think what we need to be focusing on, which I think they're focusing on this, right? Because I think a lot of people give a lot of unfairness because they say and they don't know. But I think that they are being very unorthodox right now, because I think it's very clever. They set up the debate for next week well, because Joe Biden has been following everything to the T. Right. As far as CDC is concerned. So although they may say, get him out the basement, but he's been out of the basement. He was in the basement when we were all supposed to be at home. But as soon as they opened up, he was all over the place. But what he's going to be able to beat him over the head with at the debate is, you're not doing what you're asking other people to do. Now we have proof that you knew in February and you just did not do it because you were more concerned with trying to win. There's so many things. So I think it was very clever, but I think the best part, the most beautiful part of it for me is how they're riding on Kamala being Black and Indian. Right. Because the Indian group, they are more enthusiastic than they've ever been in American history. They've never been this into an election.
And they are a minority that people usually don't see. So when we talk about the silent minority,
and they have the money.
And they have money, so they're definitely donating. Because as we were just talking about, $100 million in what after Ruth,
it was
passed,
48 hours.
Days, they went from $80 million to $120 million in 3 days.
Then Bloomberg just did the little virtual thing with his people and raised $16 million to pay off court fees for people in Florida that had felonies, but because they tried another voter suppression from the Republican Party. They said they could vote, let them register, then said, but in order for you to vote, you have to pay off all your court fees. And so they came up with $16 million to pay off all the court fees.
But now what needs to happen is, now people need to actually. So now that needs to be something that needs to be said to those people who were convicted felons, who that they let them know that this stuff has been wiped out for you, and now you can register to vote, because you can do it. But if these people
have until October 5th.
Yeah, but no. But that is the program. They can't just pay their fees. They can't just pay the fees for them. They have to contact. They have a million commercials going all over Florida telling them how to contact them, because they have to set it up for them to pay it for them. They can't just go pay it, because they have. I want to say they have 300. Was it 330? No, 30,000 registered felons for the first time in Florida, but they have up to 316,000 that have not registered to vote because of fear, because they have felonies. Those are the ones they're going after. So I think that is going to be very, very tricky, because he won Florida in 2016 by 120,000 votes. So this is going to be crazy, because the elderly have already been pretty much switched. 75% has switched over to Joe Biden from him. And then Cuban America, that he thought he had, when the next poll came out, he was behind 25 points.
But that's because they said that's because they said the Republicans were manipulating the vote.
Yeah,
I mean, manipulating the polls. But to me, I felt like that was good, because it lit the fire under.
Yeah. That's true.
Fire under Joe Biden and Democrats for Florida, which is a great thing, because
they were not putting enough attention on them. I agree with that.
Right.
We agree. For now.
I was about to say that for now.
I have a little pushback now. Just play.
Oh no, but not tonight. No.
Well, guys. But I think that we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, we have a lot to look forward to. I look at Arizona. I'm looking at Colorado. I feel like all of these states that we talk about that have like these head-to-head Senate races, because I feel like this is the opportunity. That's why when me and you were talking about earlier about the give them people, let them get that judge, let them get that, let them hang themselves. They're going to let them hang
But you know
themselves.
what, Dean? This is where I'm not mad. I can't be mad at the Democrats for doing their job to fight. Who I'm mad at is CNN, C-SPAN, and MSNBC, because we are putting too much emphasis on this, right? We're putting too much emphasis on it because that's what he wants us to do.
Right.
It's a deflection to try and take the American people's attention away from the way he's handled social injustice and the way he's handled the pandemic.
Corona.
So now we're talking about this, and so the back burner is now your stimulus. The HEROES Act is now on the back burner because this has come up. But you know what's going to be beautiful? You watch how those senators are going to lose, because I've been watching all day long. Nancy and Schumer has been talking all day about, look how fast the Republicans
they're trying to pass.
ready
They're
to
trying to get it passed, but they haven't passed
the HEROES Act in May.
Right. That should be the message that Democrats should be running on this whole time. They want to push. They push what they want to push, but they don't think about the American people. They're not thinking about the American people. They're thinking only about their party. Because we passed all of these bills to give the American people more money to help small businesses. The Democrats did that back in May.
Rather than 1%, not rather than that $300 billion that went to the top 1% businesses like Amazon.
Right. That didn't need it because they became $1 trillion company.
Right. Come
due
on.
to the coronavirus.
But I think if I can give a giveaway for you, and I'll give you a pass right now, because I think your issue when you say the Democrats, I think that you are kind of convoluting CNN and MSNBC. I think you're convoluting media to Democrats, because every time the Democrats have spoken this entire time the SCOTUS Ruth has been gone, they've been going back to what they're not doing. They've been talking about nonstop how they're not talking about HEROES Act anymore. They're concentrating on trying to put a new SCOTUS in. So they twisted it, but the media is the one that is putting SCOTUS at the top of the chart.
But when did I say they put the SCOTUS at the top of the chart?
No. Earlier you said Democrats are not focusing on what they should be focusing on. You said they was playing checkers, and so I'm coming full.
Talking about a long time ago. I'm not talking about now.
Yeah, but I'm making sure you understand that when we go full circle and you look back, we can make this retro, but when you look back, you know that it's always been the media plays this game, because unlike Fox News and the Republican Party, the Democrats doesn't have a network that is dedicated to pushing their agenda. So they have to grab these sound bites, because CNN is afraid to say we're dedicated to Democrats. MSNBC is afraid to say they're dedicated to Democrats. So you can still see a Donald Trump commercial on CNN attacking Joe Biden, but you will never see a Joe Biden commercial attacking Donald Trump on Fox News.
Well, Fox, it's not just Fox News. Donald Trump has 2 news stations, because he has One American News Network as well, even though it's small.
Yeah, I was going to say that one doesn't count.
It's still dedicated to him. So he has 2.
But they're very BET. They're very BET News. No shade, BET. No shade, BET. They're not even with OWN. They're
I can't.
They're black television. No,
so but
they do have. But they do.
My fan.
And before we go, I also want to. You said something earlier, and I wanted to bring that back because I didn't get a chance to respond to about Donald Trump. Oh my God, it was just in me, because I wanted to really go crazy on you, and I was calming myself down. But you said I'll think we'll fuss about that offline when I think of it.
Oh Lord!
But it was something you said about Donald Trump, and I was like,
get back to me.
I was like, well, I think the thing is, I remember now. I got a vision. I remember it was this whole notion of the Donald Trump was a win. For the Republicans. When I think about that, when I hear that, I think about how much enthusiasm Nixon had when he won president. But then I skip to the end when those same Republicans that were going crazy for him were the ones pulled him in and said, listen, you need to resign, because if you don't resign, we're going to vote you out. We're going to impeach you, and you're going to be removed from the seat. So you need to do that. And that's what I think about with Donald Trump. And so I think about his attorney's theory, where he said that what his theory is Donald Trump is going to resign after he loses, give it to Pence. Pence is going to, at that point, go on and pardon him.
Pardon all his
because he can do that. He's still going to be president. And that's the same thing they have with Nixon. Remember, LBJ pardoned Nixon.
Pardon him, yeah.
And it cost LBJ the election. And so history said Nixon was a harm to the Republican Party, not a plus. And history is already saying.
Well, we
Donald
already
Trump
know that. We already know that Donald Trump was.
Careful when you say win, because winning is now subjective. Because if I can cheat to win, I have to ask myself if that was a win.
Well, I guess you're looking at, first of all, you'll have to say, is it a win for the long term or the short term? So Donald Trump's win was for the short term and not the long term.
But it wasn't even short term. He's been in court since he won.
Yeah, he's been in court since he won, but like I said,
but he's been in court fighting the legitimacy of his win. Yeah. So it's not a win.
I mean, but at the end of the day, he served, even though he got impeached and all that stuff, he's still served.
And then you brought up all of his slaves in the cult, and you said that they're going to, we have to wonder if he's going to still have them. He may have them, but you have to also remember that they were not Republicans until 2000.
Oh yeah, many of them weren't Republicans.
Party wants
not,
a lot of.
I'm not going to say all. We're not going to say all of them were Republicans.
Not all of them. Not all of them, but the largest majority of them.
Yeah,
many of them were Donald Trump.
Many of them were voters. We know many of he even said it, and many of them even said it. Donald Trump is the reason why I came out.
Well, just like Bernie. But just like Bernie got a lot of people
millennials
and independents. People always say millennials, but I work at a college campus, and I can tell you that most of them didn't even like Bernie Sanders. I always wonder when people say young people, everybody I saw saying it was 35 plus. I was like, baby, we're not young no more. We feel good.
I'm under the 35 plus.
Yeah, you are. You're youngish.
And I really wasn't feeling Bernie Sanders, just like a lot of my friends weren't feeling Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Like I know people like to say that millennials, and I was like, we liked the things that he was saying, but a lot of us was like, but is it going to pass?
But it's those zennials. It's the zennials that were saying that, the ones that were, because I'm a zennial, so the zennials are the ones that right at the end of Generation X and the top of millennials, they were the ones saying it, and they were using the youth as their way to try and push the agenda. Baby, wasn't nobody listening. That's why I kept saying your first time voters.
But that is the problem, because a lot of people get I guess the zennials, millennials, and Z mixed up, and it's like they box all of us in, and it's like Gen Z is the Tide Pod generation. We ain't the same. We not the same.
Number one, the whole millennial Gen Z thing is crazy to me, because it's the same people that love saying we're not a monolithic people. Well, baby, why you keep saying that Generation Z all feel this way? Do you know what monolithic means? So if you're not monolithic, stop saying that y'all all think the same. I thought you were not monolithic. Go get your Webster.
Well, no group is monolithic.
No group. You see, we're not monolithic on this show.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Guys, make sure y'all share, and like. Make sure you go to our YouTube page, subscribe. What's her name? Truth to Power Uncut. Go to Instagram, Twitter, and of course, right here with your Facebook. You got your boy Dean, your boy King, your girl Candace, and your girl Aurelia. You want to give her a special shout out. She's on Mommy Duty, and she's getting ready to become Dr. Aurelia. They wear me and Dean out, man. They wear Dean. I'm going to get my I'm going to theology. Get me an online theology program.
You know what? I'm not going to play with you today.
I need me a quick doctor.
You know what? I'm not.
Because Aurelia about to be Dr. and Candace is Dr. Matthews, and I'm simply Wendell. You're just Dean. Let's go and get this seminary going, baby. We're going. www.blackbaptist.com. Let me
on the other side of the river.
Let me pay my $199.99.
That's how you do it, and they'll give it straight to you.
Reverend Dr.
We can clean our dirty money at the church. They don't pay taxes. That's a whole nother
at
story.
All. Oh my God.
That's a whole nother story.
You know what?
My granddad used to say it's 2 ways.
I got a vision.
My granddad say it's 2 ways to get some quick money, and that's through politics or starting a church. You always guarantee.
Your granddaddy was a very wise man. Your granddaddy was a very wise man.
Very wise.
So we do have a special quote tonight. Doc, you're going to read it from our sister.
Wait. So, did you talk about the Tuesday's special show?
Oh, tell them.
So Tuesday, guys, we want you guys to come on and watch us. We're going to be coming on right after the debate. this is important because, this is Truth to Power Uncut. So, we're going to be real uncut after this debate. We're going to have our little notes in our hands and we're going to be ready to talk about what we saw during this debate. So,
with no bias.
With no bias.
No bias.
So, and this is going to be the first time that Donald Trump and Joe Biden go head to head.
I can't wait. I want to hear him say
it's gonna be interesting because he can't do the same stuff that he did before because right now he's sitting as the president. So you can't,
and he won't have an audience to pump. That too. It'll be a small audience. Chris Wallace is the commentator.
Ooh.
I'm up and down with him because he's pretty straight, narrow, but he can.
When I heard that Chris Wallace was doing it, I was in the bathroom and I heard that I did one of these numbers here.
The good thing is Chris Wallace and Joe Biden have a long friendship. Like they are friends.
Yeah, but I don't know, y'all. We just got to see how this gonna turn out.
I agree with you though.
Yeah. I'm excited about Tuesday.
Me too.
I'm excited about Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm extremely excited.
It's gonna be a little hype Tuesday. Well, let me go on and give our RBG quote for the night. And may she rest in peace. And rest in power, first of all. Women will have achieved true equality when men share with them the responsibility of bringing up the next generation.
Oh, wow. One more time. That's a lot to unpack.
One more time, please, man. Okay. Women will have achieved true equality when men share with them the responsibility of bringing up the next generation.
Wow.
So, deadbeat daddies, get your ass up and take care of these kids.
And rest in paradise to the notorious RBG.
Yes.
You did your thing, sister. You earned your rest. It's our time to pick it up. Although you left us a little earlier than what we thought. But it's cool.
At least
we thought you was gonna make it until
I thought she was gonna make it too, because she always have that little.
I think she thought so too.
I thought she was gonna come out of. I'm like, that's why I wasn't really too worried at first. I'm like, oh, she'll be out of child.
She thought so too until she told her granddaughter to pick up that keyboard and type of these words. That my fervent prayer is that there will not be another Supreme Court justice chosen until we have a new president. Mind you, she said a new president.
Come on, she already knew, but they said no, ma'am. And now
they some dirty dogs.
Yeah.
But we got it. Don't worry.
It's a place in hell for people like that.
We're gonna get B613 or whatever it's called. Send them out there. All right, y'all. Well, it's been a great night. Make sure you share, like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Truth to Power Uncut, where we give it to you real, because that's all we know how to do. We leave the fake for our producer, Dr. GL. Want to give him I'm just playing. We want to give Dr. GL Productions a great shout out because he keeps us looking nice. And when we freeze up, you don't really know till it's too late. Boom.
There you go.
Have a nice night, guys.
Bye.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
Yet our best trained, best educated, best equipped, best prepared troops refuse to fight.